Jordan, how the hell are you, man? What's new?
Great, man. I'm building my ass off right now. A lot of very cool things coming out of Poison Noises in collaboration with some very cool artists in the 518.
Oh,
So
yeah?
trying to crank through those as fast as I can.
What are you working on right now?
Well, right now, this is actually funny enough. It's like I really like the communal sense of what we're doing. But this is actually a board that works in a lot of pedals for everyone. It's like a little daughter board thing.
Mm-hmm.
But next up on my batch is this fun little thing right here, which is
What
probably
the
going to
hell
come
is
up.
that?
It's probably going to come up backwards on here. We can mirror the
Okay.
image or something. But this is the Rotowhirl, man. This is this was a project I was very excited to bring to fruition. I've wanted to do a rotary style harmonic trem all analog optical circuit for a long time, and thanks to you and our fun partnership on this project, I'm really excited that I finally actually got to bring this thing into reality. We cracked the code on this one. So like I said, it is a optical style harmonic trem. So what that means is there's an LFO, right? There's a modulating wave that's changing the way that your signal sounds, and it's going
Mm-hmm.
between the high frequencies being focused on and the low frequencies being focused on, back and forth in a rhythmic pattern, and it gives you what we call the Doppler effect. And what the Doppler effect is kind of this spinning, rotating, like acoustic phenomenon that people used to get out of Leslie cabinets, and that's kind of what you and I were talking about originally when we hopped into this thing. And I found personally, aside from having two amplifiers and sending them different signals into each one, when you want to do it in a mono application, because that's like how 99% of the world plays guitar, the best way to approach that, in my opinion, is with a harmonic trem, is this kind of thing, which is a straight signal where the high frequency and low frequency shift back and forth, like I said, and it kind of gives this acoustic illusion that the sound is spinning in the room. It's a really fascinating piece of acoustics that it's been done in different ways before, but what's really neat about the way we approach this one is it's super tweakable. So, you've got, in terms of like a regular harmonic trem thing, you got a volume knob, you got depth, and you got speed. So, talking about speed is how fast it goes. Depth is how deep it changes in between those pitches, or not pitches, I'm sorry, in between those timbres. And that's your regular basic thing that you're going to find on pretty much anything, any kind of an LFO modulating pedal. So like you'll find, but I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to take it a step further because I have this thing that I really like to do with analog circuits that modulate, is I like to really be able to tweak my LFOs.
Mm-hmm.
I like the ability to make it sound super organic and natural, and then also if you want it to sound like digital and artificial and choppy and weird, you
You
can
know
do
what?
that. So like, here you have on the bottom, you have attack and decay controls. And so you think about the attack is like the beginning of that wave, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
decay is when it comes back down.
Mm-hmm.
And what this lets you do is control whether it's round or rather it's like a chop. So it's like, all the low frequencies and immediately all the high frequencies like getting ducked back and forth. And
Mm-hmm.
if you turn both of those all the way to the right, it's going to be that nice, smooth Leslie sound we were trying to achieve. You turn them all the way to the left, it's going to do kind of this choppy, weird, artifacty digital thing. That's going to be for the general noise making public, which in my neck of the woods over here in Troy, that's a pretty big demographic. that's a lot of the bands around here. And then lastly, this is something I just kind of stumbled upon while I was doing this, which is why these projects are always so fun, because it makes me deep dive into new stuff. And I figured out that by readjusting the bias of that LFO, I could actually kind of control how much time it spends on focusing on the high frequency push versus that low frequency push. And so I think we talked about this, trying to find the right word for it. We called that controlled timbre, because really what it did is it controlled the overall brightness of that Leslie sound versus like the overall depth of its bass quality. And what's
So,
really
like,
cool about
where
that is like, go
manipulating
ahead.
the bass horn or the tweeter of a Leslie, so to speak.
That's exactly, yeah, totally. That was the best way I had to explain it. Is like, imagine if you could actually control how much time the woofer of the Leslie started passing you versus how much time like the tweeter, the top horn started passing you. And it's really cool. And it's just on one knob, you'll go between it. It's something you have to hear. You know what I mean? It's definitely, I'm doing my best job to explain it. So what's cool about this pedal is this LED will also change brightness depending on how the sound is being affected. So that gives you that visual representation of what your sound is sounding like before you even hear it. It makes it a little bit easier to understand. When you tweak something, you can see the light changing in different ways. This was kind of a weird one that I leaned into, but it just ended up making so much more sense. It's like traditionally on a modulation pedal, when you turn the speed to the right, it goes faster. When you turn the speed to the left, it gets slower. But the thing is that, like, normally when I see people pick these things up, like, everyone starts just turning knobs like as far as they can. And I really wanted people to focus on the slower parts of that Leslie sound, because that's where it's like really beautiful and pretty to me. That's where like that nice warm, just like texture, it's not like this in your face, like whoa, 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 whoa kind of sound. It's like I made the speed knob go the other way. So it goes slower when you turn it up and faster when you turn it down. And for some reason in my head, I was just like, yeah, that makes me want to turn that knob more. That makes me want to dive into the slower modulation speeds of this. And it's like, you'll see stuff similarly like on like a Rat pedal. Like when they made the Rat, they wanted people to focus on one side of the tone knob than the other, made it backwards, and it's just funny like how that kind of subconscious thing in your head, like you want to turn knobs up. So why not make turning the knobs up go to the place where, the designer of the circuit thinks the pedal should go. You know what I mean? So like, because like hopefully people watch this video, you know what I mean, and they're talking, listen to me and you talk about this, but like there's gonna be people who just pick these things up and they just, they're gonna not have any idea what they're diving into that first time. So I thought that was the right way to approach it. And then
one of the things when I came to you about this pedal, one of the things that I was very unhappy with other rotary pedals that are out there is there isn't really a way, once you set it going, to change it in mid-performance. And
so
that is one of the hallmarks of a Leslie. Anyone that knows about a Leslie knows that it is not going the same speed the whole time.
That is true. So, and on a Leslie, you normally had... Yeah. So like on a Leslie, we normally have, normally there's two speed settings. There was just kind of like a fast and a slow, and those were hard set things. And you'll hear them used in not just, obviously, they weren't originally made for guitars, they're made for organs and stuff like that. And you'll hear them used all over the place in different eras of music. And so we wanted to come up with a way to do that also. And I think we hit the nail on the head with this too. So what we did is we made this little secondary pedal. This is the Whirly Bird. And what's really neat about this thing is it hooks directly up into the pedal. When you plug this into the bigger one, it bypasses the speed control that's on this pedal. And it's really easy to figure out how to hook it up. If you notice, like the washers are different colors for the ones you're supposed to put to, you have little black washers on it. So you put, your standard, everybody has one kicking around TRS cable into this. Don't use a regular guitar cable because it definitely needs to be TRS on this one. It needs to be a stereo thing in order to get this to work the right way. But what this does is it enables you to take that speed knob out of the equation on this pedal, on the big one, and put it into this one. So you'll notice there's two controls on the Whirly Bird here. And what that'll let you do is when you step on this switch, it'll switch between which one of these knobs is controlling the speed. So if you wanted it to go really slow, turn one of them slow. And then if you wanted it to pick up in speed, turn the other one quickly. And then what's cool is when you click on this, it'll just instantaneously switch between those two speeds. And then you can go between the fast Leslie sound and the slow Leslie sound on the fly. And you could have this one sitting in the top right corner of your board and just never touch it ever, and then have this one down by your foot, or like whatever you want to do to make it accessible and make it easy. And also, like, very cool, this is completely passive, which means you don't need to plug another 9-volt supply into it. This thing right here doesn't require any power. As long as this pedal is on the board and this one is connected to it, like, you don't have to plug anything in besides that TRS cable. It's super easy to use, super user friendly, no pop. When you step on it, it'll just switch between the two speeds. And who knows, maybe you want one that's like wild and out of control, right? So you put that one like, all the way to super speed, and then this one's like your normal one, and then like you're playing like your regular guitar thing. You want to just do something wacky real quick. You step on it again, and it'll click back and forth, and that's it. And it's as simple as that. And if if you don't want to use this, you just want to use this one, just unplug it, and immediately that becomes the speed knob control again. There's no lag in time or anything. It just changes back and forth as easy as that just by plugging it in. So I really think we hit the nail on the head with the pairing of these two pedals. I'm really happy with the way these turned out.